Welcome to the IDP Show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Soul Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
It's back!
I knew something was coming, Bobo. You can always tell when he loads it up, and you're just, it's fear. Fear is all that I feel.
There's no choking involved, so
I know.
I was here for it.
We're off to a good start. I'm gonna give you the solo cam, Addy, because you're also rocking the hero for today for the Miami Dolphins gets repped on Addy's shirt. So shout out once again to Jake Colhagen for a shirt that Adam has no business wearing, but after today's performance, you gotta rep Jalen Phillips.
Game clinching sack.
It was beautiful.
It was very nice.
I imagine that was a really special moment for you, watching probably your favorite player seal the win for the Dolphins.
Yeah, in a very big game. Yeah, and he got close a lot of different times. You know, I think the stat sheet could have looked even better, but he's off to a great start.
Yep.
I mean, 11 tackles?
Yep.
It's just amazing.
Great start for IDP. It's week 1, folks. Football is officially back. We got the appetizer on Thursday with Lions, Chiefs, and then a full serving today, Bobo. We are recording this on Sunday night. The second half of the Sunday night massacre between the Cowboys and Giants just kicked off. It's 26-0 right now. So we're going to talk through all the games from Sunday and give you our gut reactions to some of the point outputs for our favorite IDPs. We have some snap counts, but not all of them yet. Shout out John Macri. If you see snap counts on Twitter Sunday night, folks, it comes from John Macri because no one else has access to that data but the IDP king of PFF. So we're going to be referencing some snap counts that he's pulled on Twitter. So premature shout out to John for that. But we don't have the PFF grades to know, did these guys play well? What was their snap count like? So Jake and Evan will address that on the preview pod. If a guy had a tremendous output but maybe didn't play a lot of snaps, they're going to discuss that on the week 2 preview. So tonight, we're just going to go through and react to some of these guys who balled out. And gentlemen, it was a hell of a week for IDP. I think we said the same thing week 1 last year, Bobo, that you had your offensive fantasy guys crap the bed for you week 1. Come play IDP because, boy, just about every team had a guy north of 25 points today.
I mean, we'll talk about it here in a minute, but, we had our first 50 burger of the year already in week 1.
Right out the gate.
And then a couple 30s and a couple 40s, I believe. There was some really healthy scoring in Big 3 IDP scoring.
That's right.
We gotta reward our guys for getting in the backfield. Getting a sack, little TFL. Shout out Ernest Jones. I see you, boy.
Shout out Ernest. Shout out everyone. Because your offensive studs may have let you down today, but there were not a lot of IDPs that crapped the bed, Eddie.
Yeah, a lot of offensive studs let you down. But, boy, it was, from the second it started. And it was a lot of guys that we've kind of hyped up that really haven't broken out yet. That started off the day great. So it was nice. It was a good look for the show.
Yes, I think the first highlight on Red Zone they said was Drake Jackson's sack of Kenny Pickett in the Steelers game.
Yeah.
So it's
tons of types like that.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go through all of it, and we're gonna let's dive right in, boys. We got a lot to talk about. Like I said, we're gonna go through. We've got the top 5 scores for each team here in the doc. We're gonna discuss what we think about how these guys performed. So let's just jump right into it, boys. And let's kick things off with Panthers 10, Falcons 24. This was a coming out party for a couple of Panthers defensive linemen. Derek Brown, if you watch the Front Office Pros Pro Tip of the Week over on Twitter, shout out Steve and Joe. They're going to be dropping those every week on Twitter. They said you need to be scooping up Derek Brown, defensive tackle for the Panthers in Dynasty, 25.05 points. Brian Burns, he ended the holdout, came out to play, 24.7 points. And then Frankie Louvu, 17.9. So, Bobo, a lot of the big-name guys for the Panthers came through for you on your IDP lineups.
Absolutely. Just like we're starting the episode off with, we didn't really know what to expect from the young, that's his name, Bryce Young. The young Bryce Young. On the offensive side of the ball, didn't know what to expect from, the Panthers over there. But defensively, Derek Brown, hey, maybe this is the next up-and-coming defensive tackle. Another one for us. We've talked about the embarrassment of riches that it is for defensive tackle right now. But then, Brian Burns is the one for me to where in a lot of these best balls, Burns was the guy that was slipping. I know there's been a little bit of, weirdness with his contract in the offseason. But Brian Burns looks locked and loaded for the 2023 season. And hey, I'm here for it. I love Brian Burns. I still think he's a good value. Perfect age from a dynasty perspective right now. If you're looking at a defensive lineman, hey, I was happy for it.
Yeah, didn't get paid yet. Yep. Might get paid if he keeps playing like this.
Sure.
So we mentioned, Brian Burns, Frankie Louvu, almost 18 points. And you're like, hey, where are the safeties? Well, Jeremy Chin was there, 6.75 points, the fourth highest score. So it dropped off a little bit for the Panthers after the top three guys, but a great start for some studs from Carolina.
Yeah, and Shaq Thompson played 100% of the snaps. No, that's he's not showing up very well in the box score this week. Just 5 tackles, I think it was like 5 points in Big 3 scoring. So, but it's okay. He's playing the snaps.
We like the
100%.
Snaps. Yep.
So I think we'll see a bounce back from him in week 2.
Moral of the story, don't overreact to guys that played a bunch of snaps and didn't perform for IDP. The most important indicator coming out of week 1 is not the performance on your fantasy teams. It's how many snaps did they play. Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking for. So let's move over to Atlanta. I know Evan was talking up Jesse Bates on the preview pod with Jake, and Bates came through huge for his new team. He got the big contract in the offseason and has a big week 1 performance, 36.75 points, 5 solos, 5 assists, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass breakups, 3 INT return yards. I mean, let's just pause right there because I feel like Jesse Bates needs a little bit of celebrating for that, otherworldly performance. You don't often see a safety scoring 30 points.
Yeah, we talked about it. We didn't really like Jesse Bates the last 2 years up in Cincinnati, but even with kind of the decent DBs down there in Atlanta with Richie Grant, we didn't kind of really know what to expect with Jesse Bates, but I was more optimistic about Bates coming into this season, as I think you guys were as well. I know this is going to be an outlier game, but I think a healthier year from a points per game perspective is probably coming for Jesse Bates.
Yeah, and even if you take away the 2 INTs, 10 total tackles and 2 pass breakups, that's really nice as well, Addy.
Yeah, great start to the season. And someone that I think was finally a value for you in most of your drafts. He was finally starting to go like outside of the top 20. So, yeah, that's you can't ask for a better start than that.
Yeah. Let's talk about some other Falcons here. There's a couple guys here. Richie Grant down at 10.75 points. David Onyemata, nice defensive tackle streamer, 14.5 points. And then Lorenzo Carter, he was a late dart throw
Still
in
fine.
best ball.
Still
solid 16.7 points. Troy Anderson is the name we want to bring up, though. 16.85 points, 3 solos, 7 assists, so 10 total tackles, 1 TFL, half a sack, 1 QB hit, 100% of snaps.
Yeah.
Addy, I had him ranked as LB 14, I think, to wrap up the draft season, and I think Troy Anderson is well on his way to justifying that kind of draft capital.
Yes, exactly. He's going to be a smash this year. Someone that we've been excited about since he was drafted. So, yeah, this feels very good. And then Caden Ellis, he also got 99% of the snaps. I know he didn't have as good an output fantasy-wise, but, again, he'll be okay. He's playing all the snaps alongside of Troy Anderson. So, fun combo. We've loved them all off season. Those guys were being drafted like in the linebacker 28 to 35 range, which is just, it was silly. It was dumb.
Ellis had 9 total tackles as well. So I feel like there's going to be games like that where some weeks it's Troy Anderson, some weeks it's Caden Ellis, but I feel like both of them are going to have a nice floor.
Yep.
Yeah, 9.75 points. So again, nothing to worry about with Caden Ellis. I think this team is good.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons, they may drive you crazy with Tyler Algier getting all of like the goal line work.
It's NFL plays different than fantasy. You know, they're not.
Arthur
just
Smith does not care about your fantasy
Kyle
team.
Pitts there too. It's
Drake
frustrating.
London 0 catches. Just a weird team. But if they can win that convincingly without getting those guys involved, I think that bodes well for what they can do when those guys do get involved.
I don't know if y'all listened to the Ballers last week, but about Kyle Pitts, they literally said this, that during a draft, I think two of them, I don't remember which two it was, said that they drafted Kyle Pitts, and they're like, cool, I got Kyle Pitts, and then later on they were like, oh, I got Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that's
how you feel.
Yeah.
It looks
You're initially
awesome.
very excited.
Oh, yeah, like Kyle Pitts in what round? And then you're like, oh, man.
It's Taco Bell. You love it when you get it, and then about 3 to 4 hours later, middle of the night, you are filled with a lot of regret. A lot of regret and a lot of diarrhea. Let's move to the next game here and talk Texans versus Ravens. This was another fun one. Let's start on the Texans side with a couple of defensive linemen we talked up a lot this offseason. We said that this Texans defense should be improved. I think there's still some growth there. They fall to the Ravens 25-9, but Jonathan Grenard, boys, 19.45 points, and Will Anderson Jr., 19.1 points, 4 solos, 2 assists, 1 TFL, 1 sack, and 2 QB hits. Addy, we had the YouTube short talking up Will Anderson. You said he's already in our lineups. You're already scared to face him. We got a glimpse of why that is today.
Yep, and this was a tough matchup. You know, Lamar Jackson's very slippery, but yeah, I mean, amazing debut. That's a fun pair right there. Jonathan Grenard, I know Bobby, huge fan. We've all drafted him plenty this offseason. So that's a nice little fun duo. That's a very slept on defense. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be a game where the Ravens just blew the doors off of them. It was tight, you know, for a while there. Lamar had a tough time, you know, doing really anything on offense. I know from having him in DFS. So thank you, Lamar.
Thank you, Lamar, for that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a tough look. That's a bad beat. Week 1 is always filled with heartbreak and disappointment.
But I was a little annoyed at myself too for sleeping on the Texans, because I thought, I was like, the Texans are sneaky. You know, okay,
yeah, they're on the way up, right? They're ascending. They're not there yet, but
well coached, some
very
nice
well
vets,
coached.
and you have some electric, you know, young guys. Did Petre get banged up in this one?
He did. He went to the hospital, actually.
Yeah, with like a bruised lung. Because I was looking, I played him
He'll be okay, though.
in a 2 IDP league. Yes, a 2 IDP league. I play small IDP leagues also.
IDP of any size is fine.
But I saw like 2 or 3 tackles, and I was like, that's not right. Something's weird here.
So speaking of vets, though, Addy, I'll cue you up here on this. Your boy, Denzel Perryman, your flag plant, 14.25 points, 6 solos, 5 assists, 1 TFL. This was the important point, folks. We wondered how the snaps were going to break out. 95% of snaps for Perryman, 73% of snaps for Christian Harris, who scored 13.5 points. So
pretty shocking, honestly.
Very nice debut for Perryman, and very surprising to see that split.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be flip-flopped.
I expected the same.
But, I mean, if this is how it's going to be, oh, boy.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
I mean, Denzel Perryman, like I mentioned on the preview show with Macri, he's a top 20 option pretty much every single week for you.
He's not leaving your lineup, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
He's a rock solid for you.
Yep.
14.2 points, and he only had 1 TFL. So, I mean, you're going to see some bigger plays out of Perryman to go with a really, really nice tackle floor. Yeah,
that feels like, I mean, the tackle floor feels like 10 tackles a week.
Easily.
And then he's just going to sprinkle in some sacks and a pick here, you know.
So if even if he misses a couple games, folks, you're looking at 150 tackle, 160 tackle season from Denzel Perryman, especially if he can maintain this. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. I'm like, oh, baby, 90+% of snaps, but I'm like, oh, baby, 90+% of snaps for a guy who's had health issues in the past. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but for week 1, we are very excited.
Yeah, let's go to so back to Macri. Denzel Perryman played 95% of snaps. Christian Harris played 73%, and then I wanted to look this up. Henry 2020 played 34%, and then Corey Littleton actually played 25% as well. So Perryman's the one that you want. I guess Christian Harris maybe in a deeper league.
That tells me that 2020 might be the next man up if one of these guys get hurt.
Yeah.
And I'd be scared of having Christian Harris, you know. I think that's always a concern if you're playing him right now, is like, is he going to make it through this game, or is this the last time I'm going to be able to start him, you know?
That's a good point. He might be a nice little pop and sell.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Babo, why don't you take us through the Ravens' top 2 scores, because I know it's a couple guys you're very fond of.
So, top scorer, Roquan Smith, 30.1 points in Big 3 scoring.
Baby, that is beautiful.
He had 8 solos, 8 assists, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, and then 11 sack yards to go with a QB hit. And then Adam's boy, Pat Queen. I'm going to call him Adam's boy because Adam's kind of been on him for a while.
Pat Queen is your boy, by the way.
20, yeah, I just was a little joke. 24.8 points in Big Three scoring, 3 solos, 8 assists, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 11 sack yards, 1 pass breakup, 1 QB hit. Pat Queen continues to do what Pat Queen does best: rush the quarterback at times, get a TFL, get a sack. Roquan as well in the big play department, 2 TFLs, 1 sack. I mean, this is kind of what I expected out of Roquan and Pat Queen. I don't know if maybe this kind of took you all
54 combined points between these two guys is
unbelievable,
more than I expected, but it's well within their range of outcomes. This is what they do.
Yeah.
So you just love to see it show up in week 1.
I love that duo. I love watching them play together. I think it could be, as long as they stay healthy, as long as Pat Queen doesn't really have a big boo-boo on the, as far as PFF is concerned. I think it'll be a while before we see Trenton Simpson. I think it's going to be Roquan and Pat Queen for a while.
Pat Queen's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
I think it shows. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be likely gone next year. Right? His contract's done after this year, right?
That's correct.
No 5th year.
So, yeah, I think he's a little upset. He's playing with a massive payday in mind.
Mm-hmm. A recurring theme tonight will be guys due for big paydays playing with their hair on fire, because we saw that with Brian Burns. We've seen it with Patrick Queen. We'll mention a couple guys coming up here in the Colts-Jaguars game that also were showing out and are also due a new contract.
Roquan played like the LB1 off the board should be playing in a lot of our, best balls.
It did help. You mentioned looking at the rookie quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the guys who got to play rookie quarterbacks. So we had Bryce Young already, and we saw, David Onyemata and Lorenzo Carter have big games, those defensive linemen. Here we see the Ravens teeing off against C.J. Stroud, rookie quarterback, and then we'll see in the Colts-Jags game some guys had some big games there as well. So another one worth mentioning, David Ajabo, 15.25 points, 3 solos, 1 sack, 5 sack yards, 1 forced fumble, 1 QB hit. So just a great day overall from the Ravens IDPs. But let's keep it rolling, boys, and talk about the next game here on the docket. We are looking at Titans-Saints.
Also, before we move on too much, I want to pull up Odafe Owe snaps for next. When they come out, I want to actually see what they are. That'd be interesting to know, because Owe was a guy that we liked, and then Ajabo came around. I know Jabo's definitely the edge that you want there in Baltimore, but I want to see what Owe's playing. I didn't watch that game, but it would be interesting to know.
Yeah, so we had the Saints getting the 16-15 win over the Titans. And, Addy, you brought up the top guy here for the Titans. A couple surprising guys at the top. Shoot, 2 surprising, and then 1 guy that we fully expected, and then the 4th guy, a locked and loaded stud. But who are the top 2 scorers for the Titans on the week?
Amani Hooker, 33.95 points in Big Three scoring. He had 3 solos, 2 assists, 1 TFL, 1 INT, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 2 pass breakups, 10 INT yards, and 3 fumble return yards. So
no, -3.
He got 0.3 taken off.
It was a lot. It was a lot. We don't really need that much, I don't think. Could have stopped halfway through that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But just an insane game there for Amani Hooker. I'm be really interested in the usage. I'd imagine there's a lot of slot usage there, probably a decent amount of box usage. That's what he did last year. Last year it was just he wasn't able to stay healthy, but when he was out there, man, he was really, really good. So great start for him. Danico Autry was the second highest scorer on the Titans, 25.3 points, 4 solos, 1 assist, 1 TFL, 1.5 sacks, 4 QB hits. Danico Autry's like 31, 32.
Just keeps doing it, man.
But yeah, he keeps getting slept on. He's free, and he was free in basically all the drafts we did this offseason.
Next guy as well, also probably free in a lot of leagues.
Also free in a lot of leagues, and also I was able to pick him up like last night. Like I was going through and putting a bunch of guys that were out, putting them on IR, and I was just sifting through the waivers, and a ton of Arden Key.
Arden Key, baby.
22.95 points. You heard us talk about him a lot this offseason.
One of our favorite sleepers, especially where he was being drafted.
Yeah, 1 solo, 3 assists, 1 TFL, 1.5 sacks, 1 pass breakup, 2 QB hits. So just a great debut for Arden Key there in Tennessee. Then Jeffrey Simmons.
Yes, sir.
18.55 points, 3 solos, 2 assists, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 QB hit. So I think we all kind of expect a nice little leap from Jeffrey Simmons this year.
Yes, sir.
I think he's previously been like around 13 points per game, but I would like to see him get to like a 15, maybe 16 points per game level. And I think that he can, man. That's a talented defense.
It's a good defense.
It really is.
I think it's a slept-on defense.
Arden Key only had 4.5 sacks in 2022. How many sacks can we see Key finish with this year?
What did I say on the flag plant show? I think I said like
I could see
8.
Yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8. I think we could very easily see that.
I mean, it could be low. It could be too low. I mean, all the stuff we heard off season was he was working everyone. I mean, it was Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so he was going against them in practice every day. But I mean, the reports were awesome. Like, I think that we could see, maybe 8 is too low. We could maybe see 10.
So so I actually wrote up Arden Key on the website by digging into your ranks back in June as just a guy to pay attention to. And I was talking about him in the same light as like Khalil Mack. He was kind of similar vein in your ranks. So would you rather have Arden Key or Khalil Mack for the rest of this season?
Oh boy,
That's a good one.
Because I know you've been pretty hot and heavy on Khalil this year.
Khalil didn't start out the best today. I think he had like 4 points or something.
That's okay.
So that's tough. But I mean, I think I'm still going to go Khalil Mack.
I think I might go Arden Key.
I think those guys are close.
It's very close.
I mean, yeah, I like both of them. I want them both.
We should mention.
You can't have both.
Yeah, you can only pick one in this hypothetical. Azeez Al-Shaair, not a great day, so he only had, 5.5 points by Big Three scoring, but played 98% of the snaps. So
Send out some offers.
Yeah, don't panic. Yeah, this is a great time to go in and scoop in these underperforming guys who are playing a healthy workload, which Azeez Al-Shaair was.
That dude plays hard, too.
And then we should also mention Jack Gibbons there, 65% of the snaps, so nothing doing right now with that LB2. But let's look at the Saints side, and a couple notable guys here, but some guys that are also absent. Marshawn Lattimore led the way, 24.5 points. He had 2 solos, a pick, and 4 pass breakups. And then Carl Granderson, we mentioned as a nice sleeper option, especially late in those drafts. If you're looking for like your DL 4 or 5, 23.4 points, 2 solos, 2 assists, 1 TFL, 1.5 sacks, 4 QB hits. Marcus May, I think Evan was talking up Marcus May on the preview pod, 17.4 points, 5 solos, 1 assist, 1 INT, 1 pass breakup. Cam Jordan, 17.25, 2 solos, 3 assists, half a sack, 2 pass breakups, and 1 QB hit. And then Demario Davis to round things out, 15 points, 10 total tackles, and a TFL. We don't see Pete Werner on this list. I can pull up his kind of log to see where he landed, but some nice debuts from our Saints boys.
Yeah, it's you always want to, I think start whoever is going against the Tennessee Titans and an offensive line. I mean, as you see,
so bad.
Carl Granderson, Cameron Jordan both had great days. What were you looking at?
Pete Werner was fine, 12.4 points. So Pete was just fine.
Solid.
8 tackles and half a sack.
And it's kind of cool seeing Pete Werner out there wearing number 20.
Oh, yeah.
You're always like, this is a defensive back.
Yeah,
That is. But he kind of looks like a DB. I mean,
Yeah.
he's as quick as a DB.
Yep. So anything else from this game, boys, or shall we move on?
Carl Granderson continues to be free money at the end of these, best balls. If you just kind of sprinkled him in, Carl Granderson could have a nice little season, starting the year off a sack and a half.
He'll likely be on waivers in a lot of leagues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He's a good pickup.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you pick him up. I think it's I want to see the snaps. I think, it's a good thing we have to wait for waivers because I do want to see the snaps on some of these guys.
I feel like, though, he's going to be one of the main
yes.
guys. It's going to be him and Cam.
Yep, absolutely. So let's move to Jags Colts. And I'll take us through this one, boys, because I watched every snap of Anthony Richardson's debut. Feel pretty good. The rookie had some moments of brilliance. He played really steady for most of the game. Needs to protect himself a little better. Took some big hits. I was having like Andrew Luck lacerated kidney.
Yeah.
Was it? Flashbacks, which is never fun. So, hey, Rich, I love the aggressiveness. I love the playmaking. Let's just slide. Let's go out of bounds. Let's not try to take on, grown men who are trying to take your head off.
Hey, Rich, a big dude, though.
He's very big, but that's the problem. You're 6'4" and 250. You think you can run over everyone. Well, guess what? You're going up against guys who are bigger and stronger than you are on the defensive side of the ball.
Did y'all kind of get the Cam Newton vibes from him a little bit?
Cam is the closest comp for me with A-Rich, which is great. I mean, prime Cam was a force.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's very solid debut from A-Rich. That team, if we squeak out 7-8 wins this season, that's way overachieving. I think we're going to be around like 5 or 6 wins, which is fine.
Nice you guys hung in that game.
We did. We played well, and we had a lot of mistakes. So I think if we can clean up some of that stuff, we'll be in the mix every game. We'll be scrappy.
Jonathan Taylor to an extension.
Let's get him back maybe in the mix because our running backs were bad
Were they?
today.
Oh,
they
God.
were really, really bad, atrocious.
Huh.
So the best running was just Anthony Richardson. I mean, he had to basically power the run game. But let's talk IDP. Jaguars, Josh Allen. We mentioned players wanting a payday. 39.8 points for Josh Allen. 8 solos, 2 assists, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, 2 QB hits. Josh Allen was a nightmare. So was Tyson Campbell. 21.5 points, 6 solos, a pick, a forced fumble, and a PBU. Foye Oluokun, LB1 for a lot of folks, 19 points, 12 total tackles, a pass breakup, and a QB hit. Trayvon Walker, Bobo, 16.5 points, 3 solos, 3 assists, a TFL, 1 sack, and 1 QB hit. And then Andre Cisco, 15 points, 7 solos, 3 assists, 1 forced fumble. Just a great debut from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Bobo.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably helps, like you're saying, to go against a rookie quarterback who, doesn't know when to slide, doesn't quite know when to get the ball out a little bit faster. But it is hard to look away from some of these stats. 3 sacks for Josh Allen, 8 solos and 4 assists for Foye, which is just such a Foye thing year after year. And then Trayvon Walker with the sack in week 1 is really, really that's inspiring for a 2023 campaign.
6 tackles, tackle for loss.
Just like we were talking about before the SOD started, Josh Allen is playing like it's a contract year. 3 sacks to begin the season off. The man wants his money, and he's making a pretty strong case early on to get paid.
Absolutely.
Do we have the snap counts for the Jaguars linebackers?
I can check, but I don't think we do.
Okay. Really interested in what Devin Lloyd did, of course. He didn't really have a great game stat-wise.
Macri commented in Slack that Devin Lloyd played a whole lot, that Muma didn't really get on the field very much.
Yes,
so.
up to the point that he mentioned that. I think he was playing 100% of the snaps.
Yeah.
3 tackles, 1 fumble recovery for Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, pretty quiet.
He did have a helmet-to-helmet that I think drew a 15-yard penalty, so I was like, uh-oh. Is Doug Peterson going to be like, you idiot, Chad Muma, get in there? But no, I think when the snap counts come out, I would be shocked if Devin Lloyd was not like 80+%, 85, maybe even north of 90. But let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts, because there was a play in this game, and I would love to hear you all's input and feedback on this. I think might have been the best play for IDP that I've ever seen from DeForest Buckner. Gets the sack, gets the strip, so a forced fumble, also a TFL in there, that stacks, and then recovers another fumble when Tank Bigsby recovers the fumble from Lawrence and just holds the ball. Zaire Franklin comes up, punches the ball out. DeForest Buckner gets up off the ground from the sack, scoops up the fumble from Tank Bigsby, rumbles about 25 yards down the field, so you get 2.5 points for that, into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's up there.
That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty amazing.
I was like, wait, DeForest, because I knew
I didn't realize the recovery was from someone else knocking
Dude,
it.
I had no idea. The play had so many elements. They went to review it, and I was like, you've got the Lawrence empty hand coming forward. You've got Bigsby fumbling. You've got DeForest Buckner then rumbling it in for a touchdown and diving to get the TD. Because there was a debate, is his knee down, but his arm was already across, so they just let it stand, man. It was a wild play, and I saw Buckner obviously had the touchdown. I didn't realize he also had the sack. So that's when I was like, so he got up off the ground, ran towards the play, scooped up the ball, and then ran the opposite direction. So DeForest Buckner finishes with a whopping 34.95 points by Big Three, scoring 4 solos, 3 assists, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 sack yard, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, a defensive touchdown, 2 QB hits, 26 fumble return yards. Go off to DeForest Buckner.
So, I mean, that was like a 25
point play, pretty much.
Jeez.
Wow.
You can't, I mean, Where else can you get that, folks? You're not getting that in offensive fantasy football.
And it's worth it too.
Yes,
I mean, that
it's
should
a
be
game-changing play.
Hey, you know what's working is we were talking last episode, I think it was, about how many of these defensive tackles we took in all these best balls.
Feeling good.
I think it's going to be all right.
Feeling very good so far. Did you see, we'll get to the game, but the Seahawks, when Geno was mic'd up and had Aaron Donald running right in his face. Oh, my God, when he threw the ball away quickly. That's like, Geno Smith is all of us in that moment.
So many people sent me that.
That was amazing. So we should also mention another guy playing for a contract, Zaire Franklin, 26.5 points, 18 total tackles, a forced fumble, 1 PBU, 100% of snaps. I think we underrated Zaire Franklin a little bit this offseason, boys.
Yeah, definitely.
He is a man possessed. I mean, you can't see it show up in the stats here, but the juice he brought to that defense was undeniable.
He's the one with the juice now.
He is the leader on that defense, 100%.
Yeah, Shaq's an afterthought.
Yep.
You know? And I mean, even like the upside of Shaq Leonard is no longer what it was. I mean, Shaq Leonard is like a guy that you're hoping that can get like 10 or 11 tackles.
Yeah.
And that's a solid day for him. But, you know, previously you were hoping that he would get 15 tackles, a sack, 3 TFLs, a force, you know, but that's not him anymore.
No.
He's just sitting back there and just soaking up tackles.
Yeah, he was 86% of snaps, so he's the LB2 there behind Zaire. Pretty
Is this
clearly.
the sell window?
Someone's coming knocking.
There's
sure.
got to be somebody that's looking around like, wow, Shaq Leonard played.
He's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back. Yeah.
86%. That's the narrative you want to spin. Did you see 86%?
Yeah.
He had a decent showing. He had 10.5 points by Big Three scoring, so
Just don't tell
not
him
a bad day.
Zaire's played 100.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just clear. And then EJ Speed was on the field 41% of snaps. I mean,
Yeah.
he was rotating in on third down. Was kind of the Shaq was going out on a lot of third downs. EJ Speed was coming in.
He did good too with the snaps, right? I mean,
Yes,
he had
he did.
12.25 points.
Yep. So
I love EJ Speed.
EJ Speed's good, man. 12.25, 5 total tackles, a TFL, a forced fumble. Quiddy Pay, we should mention as well, 17.8 points, 3 solos, 1 assist, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 QB hit.
How you feeling?
I feel great about Quiddy Pay.
Do you?
Yeah, he looked really good. That Jacksonville line's like nothing to write home about. They're like okay. But, I thought the Samson Ebukam looked good as well.
Oh, yeah.
Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner. It took a little bit of time. The run defense is really solid. We still have to get a little more pressure on the quarterback.
I gotcha.
But I think all in all, very promising start. I think that defense is going to be solid, somewhere around like probably 14 to 17 range overall defense in the league. But we'll take it.
Y'all got some fun pieces.
Yes, absolutely. Next up here, boys.
Can y'all afford to pay Zaire?
Absolutely, yes. I think we could. And I think we will. I really do, because I think I have to look at Shaq's contract again. I think we have an out next offseason. If we do, Shaq is gone. And I think Speed's a free agent too. I think. Again, we'll double check all these contracts, but a lot up in the air for the Colts linebacking unit in 2024. But for 2023, Zaire Franklin is that dude. So let's move on to the next game here, boys, and talk about Addie's favorite team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, go in and steal one, getting the 20-17 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Addie, kick us off with the Buccaneers. One of our favorite safeties tops the list as the highest score for the Bucs.
Antoine Winfield, the poster boy for the usage does not matter. It does not matter where this dude lines up. He's going to ball. 4 solos, 4 assists, so 8 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass breakup, 2 QB hits. That was for 29 points for Mr. Winfield.
He put all the presents under the Christmas tree this week. That's incredible.
We thank you.
Thank you. What a blessing Winfield continues to be.
Anthony Nelson, edge guy there in Tampa Bay, he had a nice little start, 17.85 points, 3 total tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 3 QB hits. We'll check the usage and stuff when we get it. If it's anything substantial, that's something that we'll have to keep on our radar. Devin White, 16 points. He had 12 total tackles, 1 TFL. Did give us a little scare where he got banged up a little bit.
I missed that.
Flexing his knee a little bit, but he ended up okay. I think Levante David also got a little banged up as well. 15 points.
Very solid debut from both these guys.
Yeah.
16 for Devin and 15 for Levante. That's very nice.
Yeah, Levante had 8 total tackles and 2 TFLs. Christian Isian had 14.65 points.
That was that interception, I think, really boosted him.
Yeah, 3 total tackles.
Also got lit up by Justin Jefferson. That was did y'all see that hit? That was the one where Jefferson laid the wood on that guy after the interception. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty solid game for most of the Bucs you were starting. I mean, I don't think anyone was really starting or relying on Joe Tryon. You're not relying on Kalijah Cansey yet. Logan Hall, I don't think anyone's, trusting those guys. But, I mean, I think most people probably started Devin White, Levante David, and Antoine Winfield.
Yeah, Shaq Barrett went for 8.5 points. Vita Vea was down a little lower. Looks like he was 7.5 points. And then Joe Tryon Shoyinka looks like was 5.95 points. So
why the Cowboys still playing starters?
Yeah, it's 33-0.
Why CeeDee Lamb?
14 minutes
Pollard
left in the fourth.
catching balls.
They're just wanting to put the screws on him. Hey, Addy, we'll keep. Let's put the solo cam back on you and have you talk about your beloved Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, sir. Danielle Hunter, 24.65 points, 7 total tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup, 1 QB hit. Very nice seeing Danielle Hunter out there balling. It was a great matchup for him. So we'll see what he does next week. But I mean, he's never leaving your lineup. Caleb Evans, he had 13.75 points, 5 total tackles, 2 pass breakups. He's basically going to be the second cornerback there in many. Harrison Phillips, defensive lineman, 12.5 points. He had 8 tackles, 1 pass breakup. Josh Metellus, he had 11.5 points, 6 solos, 1 pass breakup.
And then this is the big story right here.
Ivan Pace Jr., 12.25 points. He had 8 total tackles, 1 QB hit, but he played 68% of snaps, whereas Brian Asamoah played what?
2 total snaps.
Wow.
2 snaps. Jordan Hicks was 97% of snaps. So you got to sit Brian Asamoah down. You probably can cut Asamoah at this point, honestly, depending on the depth of your league.
In redraft.
Yes, not in Dynasty. But Ivan Pace Jr., boys, what a glow up for the undrafted short king in Minnesota. I mean, this was you said, and I remember this quote specifically, we have to account for Ivan Pace Jr. Now we really have to account because he may be the LB that you want in Minnesota at this point.
He's got a role there, man.
He does.
I mean, that's a nice snap share for an undrafted rookie, 68%. And I mean, what did he do when he was out there? He stuffed the stat sheet. 8 tackles, 1 QB hit. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, there was no one that was more productive than Ivan Pace. Maybe Will Anderson. But as far as like stat wise, like Ivan Pace in college was out of control. So yes, you have to account for Ivan Pace. He's probably going to be one of the most added linebackers.
Yes.
In IDP, I would think. I mean, he's probably going to be the top of most waiver articles.
I think I had a little bit of uncertainty about what Asamoah's role was going to look like, Bobo. I certainly did not expect 2 snaps for the guy.
Well, Ivan Pace is kind of the training camp buzz where you're like, should we pay attention to this, or is this just like we're just bored? But it just kept coming with Ivan Pace to where it was just like, all right, this offseason, he might actually be a guy. And, after week 1, who's to say that this couldn't flip at some point to where it's like Ivan Pace is now 100% and Jordan Hicks is 68%.
Brian Asamoah surges late in the season. Maybe not, though.
It's wishful thinking, Josh.
Yeah, that was just a shocker. I was absolutely stunned when I saw that come through.
That's a weird Ivan Pace I drafted in XFL in the auction, and then I dropped him, and it didn't feel right. And I was like, I gotta pick.
You gotta rectify this.
I gotta pick
So you
this
got him
guy
back up.
It just makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you think about Brian Flores is there now. He did not draft Asamoah.
Yep.
And also Brian Flores is a hard ass.
He doesn't care.
He does not
I at
care.
least thought
He's gonna
start,
love
though.
being able to start this undrafted guy over this 3rd round pick.
How do you know? That's my thing is like, how do you, I guess they see him in practice and they're just like, Asamoah just doesn't have it. We like Ivan Pace Jr. better.
It's his little project.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen Asamoah
We're gonna be bad anyway.
at least get a chance. That was just very, very surprising.
He'll still get his chance at some point. You know how this stuff goes.
I hope so.
Maybe Jordan Hicks falls out of favor, and
Jordan Hicks is really old.
he is old. I mean, maybe they just want to see what they got in these young guys. I mean, this was a game that Minnesota should have won. I mean,
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
yeah, last year they were on, it was all these close games and they were just on the other side of it. They were on the winning side of it. I do worry that that's not going to happen this year. And you could see them, shut it down early or start trying to get these young guys out there early. Maybe we start hearing like Kirk Cousins trade rumors stuff. I don't know.
The Cowboys are now up 40-0. So this game got way out of hand on the Giants.
The rushing touchdown.
We should mention Jordan Hicks playing that many snaps got 2.25 points. So
Wow.
Not interested in Jordan Hicks. I just think
So he'll probably be getting cut. So, I mean, I think he's
scoop him up just because
Scoot him
he's
up,
getting
yeah.
the snaps.
Get
But
him.
are you ever going to start that guy?
maybe.
I guess it depends on your situation.
It sounds
but
like just an unlucky week. I mean,
He's always put a bunch of tackles up.
yeah.
we'll see. I
Sneaky
think
but
long term,
startable.
it kind of feels like one of those situations that's going to change as the season goes along.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel very locked.
Yeah, that situation
Locked in.
does feel like it might be kind of the end of the road for Jordan Hicks.
Yeah.
You've had enough of these weird little years where we thought you were dead and you were relevant.
You Michael Myers came
Yeah.
up out of the grave.
I don't
Yeah.
know who that is. The tight end in Las Vegas?
That's Michael Mayer. You know Michael Myers is the Halloween killer. All right, let's move to the next game here, boys. Cardinals, Commanders. And Cardinals were hung tight in this game. I mean, the Josh Dobbs-led Arizona Cardinals went down swinging at least, but they lose 20-16 to the Washington Commanders. Sellout crowd in Washington now with the new ownership group in there, so good riddance to the previous owner there, Daniel Snyder. That weasel is finally gone, and Magic Johnson's in the house now. The fans are back. The energy is back. But on the Cardinals side, Addy, one of your heroes, underrated heroes for IDP, sneaky little start there. Who was the top scorer in Zona?
Mr. Dennis Gardeck. 30.7 points for Mr. Dennis the Menace.
It's the girlfriend emoji where it's the meme where the guy has the girl's hand but he's looking back
yeah.
at it's Jalen Phillips' hand that you're holding, but it's Dennis Gardeck walking by that he's making hard eyes at.
Hey, Dennis Gardeck is a total juice type player. He's going to get everyone fired up. You can just feel the electricity when this dude gets in the lineup. He's just everywhere. He's just and the hair's flying all over the place. Like he just gets people going.
The name is what I think throws me because it sounds like the IT guy. Can we get Dennis Gardeck up to work on the computers on the third floor? It doesn't sound like a juice guy but that hair, that greasy hair is flowing. So
Did I say the stat line?
no, you did not yet. Please share.
4 tackles, 1 TFL, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 QB hits.
Have you a day, Dennis Gardeck?
Damn. I mean, it was a really nice matchup. The Commanders'
Yeah.
O-line's really bad, but
Sam Howell.
Dennis Gardeck is going to get a lot of snaps opposite Zaven Collins. I mean, I think that they're going to sprinkle in some Cam Thomas there, but I mean, if you're looking at talent-wise, Dennis Gardeck and Zaven Collins are the 2 most talented edge rushers they have right now.
Yeah, well, let's jump down to Zaven Collins here. 14.9 points. Shout out John. He had him at 59% of snaps. Just 2 snaps off-ball linebacker. But he did get an interception. So the stat line there for Zaven, 14.9 points, 2 assists, 1 INT, 1 fumble recovery, a PBU, and like we said, 59% of snaps. So Zaven Collins, we were kind of wondering how this experiment was going to go, Bobo, and a little lower snaps than I expected, but the alignment sounds like he's an edge rusher now.
Zaven is like a backwards player. He gets the big plays, but he doesn't always get the nice floor that we're looking for. If he could increase the tackles or get, I know a sack is a big play, but if he can continue to do the fumble recovery, he has an odd interception every once in a while. If he could keep that up and get some more like easy tackles for us, this guy would be elevated even more because exactly like Adam's saying, Zaven and Gardeck are going to play a lot. There's a lot of these gross defensive lines in the NFL right now. We just got done talking before the episode about Yannick Ngakoue is going to play a bunch of gross snaps this year. There's just a bunch of weird situations where they're not necessarily the best edge rusher per se, but you're just going to see a lot of activity. So, anyways, gosh, what just happened there? That was
Isaiah
hilarious.
Hodgins got stripped.
Oh, no. So they're about to score again. So should mention as well some guys that did not show up here in the top 5. Kaiser White played 100% of snaps and had a very solid day, 12.25 points, 9 total tackles. So don't worry about Kaiser. We should also mention that Budda Baker was 100% of snaps. Jalen Thompson was 97% of snaps. Let's see how those guys finished up. So I think they just had a little bit of a down day.
Yeah, so Buddha had 5 total tackles, and then Jalen Thompson had 5 total tackles.
Yeah, 5.25 points for Buddha, and then 5.25 for Jalen as well. So safety, though, looks to be Buddha Baker, Jalen Thompson. That's been solidified now with Isaiah Simmons, Althador. Zaven Collins is an edge rusher. Kaiser White is the LB1. So a lot of the questions that we had, I think, got answered this first week in Arizona. But, Bobo, I'm going to give you the solo cam here.
Sure.
And you're going to talk about the Washington Commanders because one of your flag plants is off to a phenomenal start.
Sweaty boy Montez had 30 points in Big Three scoring. 4 solos, 1 assist, 2 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 QB hit. Oh, man, I love to see it, even with Chase Young being a wasn't he a healthy scratch?
No, he was just
A bust.
yeah, a bust apparently. No, he's out the first 2 weeks, maybe back for week 3, but it is not looking great for Chase Young to start the season.
Montez is starting off my flag plant pretty healthy. To get a 10-sack season and start with 1.5 in week 1, I'm happy with.
Plus 5 total tackles, a couple TFLs.
Dude, I'm telling you, Montez is he's a really, really good edge defender. He's a great edge one for a team that doesn't get treated like such. But then let's also talk about Jonathan Allen, another defensive tackle.
There we go.
21.5 points, 3 solos, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, and 3 QB hits. Jonathan Allen, healthy defensive tackle to
That's
be
right.
taking in your best balls.
Another defensive tackle we're feeling good about.
DL2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much every single week for you.
And then I think we have to have the conversation, right, boys?
Let's move on. Moving on.
Hey, you buried the hatchet now because of the shirt. The shirt,
Cameron Girl. That's my guy.
your guy from whenever we did the last episode. 18.5 points, 10 total tackles, including 8 solos, 1 TFL, 1 pass breakup, 100% of snaps, 60% in the box. Cam Curl balled out, boys. We have to give him his flowers.
We tried to tell you.
We did.
We tried to tell you.
Yeah, don't go back and listen to any of the previous podcasts to validate that, but we did try to tell you. And then also cracking the top 5, we should mention here to round things out, Deron Payne, 11.5 points, 2 solos, 2 TFLs, and a fumble recovery.
My Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, best ball stacks are appreciative of this week.
They are looking pretty healthy to start things out.
Also, to make a note too, Derek Forrest did play 100% of the snaps as well. So I think
Yes.
Cam Curl and him both played every snap out there. So
Yeah,
just
pay
attention.
2 good safety options.
Yep.
Let's move to a game that I did not expect to go. Actually, 2 games here back to back that I did not expect to go the way they did. Let's talk about the Steelers getting mollywopped by the San Francisco 49ers, 30-7. And we'll start on the Niners side with I know one of Joey the Tooth's favorite players because he is a 49ers fan. Shout out Joey. Drake Jackson, 32.75 points, 3 solos, 2 TFLs, 3 sacks, 20 sack yards, 3 QB hits. We had some high hope. At least I had high hopes for Drake Jackson. I've got a fair bit of exposure to him in best ball. Did not expect this sort of output from week 1, Bobo.
Yeah, week 1, I didn't even know he got 3. I saw he had 2, and he just graced us with another one to
Why
finish
not?
the game.
Little cherry on the sundae.
Yeah, Drake Jackson. I mean, there's opportunity there, Well done, Josh. Just an unbelievable mind here. Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. You completely just took my breath away, pretty much.
Well, we could also talk about the fact that Talanoa Hufanga and his beautiful hair, 22.05 points, 5 solos, a TFL, a pick, a pass breakup, 28 interception return yards. Addy, who's that guy there at number 3, though, below Talanoa Hufanga?
Oh, you mean Fred Warner, Josh?
Oh, Freddie boy?
15.5 points, 8 total
I don't know
tackles.
what that voice was, but I'm horny and afraid.
Sure. 1 TFL, 1
I heard
pass
it
breakup.
while watching Deuce Vaughn trying to get
It is
trying to
pouring
get to
there.
the edge.
It is pouring in New York
He
right
looks
now.
very small.
Oh, he looks.
He's a baby boy.
Yeah,
he is a
looks-
little baby.
I look like Spud Webb. 5'5".
Charvarius Ward, he got himself a pick. We name dropped him on the PFF preview with Macri.
I think Macri said that was like his CB3 for the season.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
14.1 points, 3 tackles, INT, 1 pass breakup. Javon Hargrave got himself a sack in his San Francisco debut, 13.9 points, 3 total tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 QB hit. He played 72% of the snaps. That's much better than what he was getting there in Philly.
Yes,
so.
sir. This guy is going
Love
to
to see
eat
it.
this year, folks.
Yep, 22 sacks.
Strap in. But
Incoming.
talking about eating, boys, let's switch over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a big old gap between the top scorer and the next guy because TJ Watt gave us our first 50 burger of the season, 50.95 points, 5 solos, 1 TFL, 3 sacks, 17 sack yards, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, a pass breakup, and 5 QB hits. Take a bow, TJ Watt, your MVP for week 1 for IDP.
Damn.
That's impressive, boys.
Damn, boys.
This is what we talk about with TJ Watt, though.
Yep.
Probably the highest ceiling in IDP, but just the health.
Did we
It's
mess up
just-
the ADP? Should he have gone closer to 101?
Yeah.
On some of
Probably.
these best balls. I mean, it was pretty much Mike at 101.
Because I mean, if he does hit,
it's,
I think you win.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you get TJ Watt healthy for a full season, dude, you're gonna have this ain't gonna be his last 50-point game either.
It's
No,
Mahomes.
it's not.
He's gonna maybe have 2 more of them.
Yep.
You know, he's just
Because this was against Brock Purdy, y'all. This was not like a rookie quarterback or some, dum-dum out there who,
well, yeah, wasn't like Trey Lance.
oh, Trey.
Freaking
They
idiot.
should have Trey in this game.
No, they put in the other guy.
Who's Dallas's other backup?
Played
Cooper
last
Rush.
year.
Cooper Rush.
There you go.
They should. Trey would have let him come back.
That's true.
Bust.
Let's talk about a couple other guys, though. Landon Roberts, 14.25 points. He played just 43% of the snaps, though,
Yeah.
which was very, very surprising.
That's what you need to pay attention to there, folks.
Yep.
43% of the
yeah,
snaps.
that's not great.
That was the
because-
lowest of the group.
Yes.
Versus Quan here at 69%.
Yeah, with 10.75 points, 9 total tackles, 8 solos, 1 assist. Landon Roberts had 6 solos, 1 assist, 2 TFLs. Alex Highsmith, nice little game, 10.25 points, 7 total tackles, and a TFL. Patrick Peterson was getting torched, but went for 9.5 points, 2 assists, 2 PBUs. Let's look up and see what Holcomb did because I think he was, I think he was the 100% snap guy, wasn't he, for the Steelers?
He did have the most snaps. I don't know that it was
I
100.
think it was like 70.
Was it really?
He had 2 solo tackles and 3 assists.
Wow. So just a little bit of a down week there for Cole Holcomb. I'm trying to find, though. Yes, there was 78%. You were right. So 68 total defensive snaps. Holcomb played 53 total, so 78%. 69% for Quan, 43% for Landon Roberts. As Macri noted in his tweet, not ideal for anyone. Minkah Fitzpatrick did play 100% of snaps, as we expected. We wondered who that safety 2 would be. It's DeMonte KZ playing 72% of snaps, but Keanu Neal getting 49%, as Macri notes again, not ideal for a safety 2. So not looking to really target any safeties outside of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Any other notes here, boys, from this game before we move on?
Cam Hayward, big donut. So appreciate you for that, Cam.
Yeah, don't panic, though.
Oh, discount Aaron Donald. Thanks for that.
Make a trade offer for Cam Hayward. There may be some pissed off
You really
managers.
should, though. That's a great trade target.
Yes. Let's talk
People will say, oh, he's washed up. He's old. He's 30. He is 35. But
grown man.
I think he'll be okay.
Don't you dare insult him.
He does this all the time.
All the time. Let's talk about the next game, though. Another very surprising, lopsided affair in the Browns whooping up on the Bengals 24-3. And, Addy, we're going to start off with the linebacker for the Bengals that you are a big fan of. Who was the Bengals' leading scorer this week?
Mr. Jermaine Pratt, one of my favorite values for pretty much the last 3-4 years. 29.5 points, 11 total tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 QB hit. Let's go, Jermaine Pratt.
Great day for Jermaine Pratt.
Dax Hill, he had a nice game too, 25 points. He had 6 total tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 INT, 1 pass breakup. I wonder if Macri put out any of the usage for
I
him.
haven't seen any of them yet.
Okay. Trey Hendrickson, 17 points. He had 3 total tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup, 1 QB hit. BJ Hill had a nice little week 1 performance, 14 points. He had 4 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 QB hits. And then Logan Wilson, he had 12 points. 8 total tackles and 1 TFL.
Or Mom's Meatloaf, as they nicknamed him on the after show. I mean, Aaron was right. 12 points. It's like it's never going to like wow you, but it's going to be solid. I think this is what we can expect from Logan Wilson, somewhere in that like 12 to 18 point range.
Y'all probably both hate Meatloaf, don't you?
I do.
Not a big Meatloaf fan.
Yeah. But
See?
apparently, I think if you like it, you
Yeah.
like it.
Hey, I love it.
See?
I love it.
I think it's either you're in or you're out on
I'm in.
Meatloaf. I don't think
I'm in.
anyone's like ambivalent on Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. What's the hate?
If Logan Wilson is Meatloaf, what's Jermaine Pratt? Because I want some of that. Give me seconds.
He's a McRib.
Jermaine Pratt's just always really effective.
We need to clip that right there. The McRib and then the heavy press and look into the camera. If someone could
clip that
for us.
I'm going to have too much to do, so if you could clip that, I'd appreciate
Mom's
it.
Meatloaf and the McRib.
The McRib. That's a great linebacker combo. Let's talk about the Browns, though, boys. We're doing good on time. I'm proud of us. We're less than an hour in, and we're about to wrap the early game. So,
Speaking of poop.
speaking of poop.
Yeah, because of the McRib.
Yeah, well.
The Browns.
The Browns, yes. Well, I was thinking the Elves, since Jamar Chase called them the Elves. And
Yeah, I missed
that
that.
field logo is very off-putting, though. It's like a Keebler elf looking dude.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
We need to get rid of that. Put the dog on the field.
Like Keebler Elves, though.
Since he talks a little too much.
They
They
do.
sure do.
That was a
Burrowhead.
stinker.
They got a lot of people going last year.
They did.
Number one player for the Browns.
What happened there
unsurprisingly.
offensively? Was that just
I didn't watch a minute of that
Burrow
game
had
other than what
80
was on Red
yards?
Zone.
I mean, maybe the Browns are for real. I mean, that defense is much
Everything
improved.
I saw on Twitter was Jim Schwartz has this defense playing better than they have ever played.
wow?
And they have more talent than they've ever had.
Yep.
Yeah,
So let's talk about some of that
80
talent.
yards.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Miles Garrett,
Pretty good.
19.8 points as far as the defense goes. Not
He's
good
got
for,
the big rib on his.
Yeah, not good
It
for
is
the
pretty good.
$250,000 man in Joe Burrow. 2 solos, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 13 sack yards, 4 QB hits. Grant Delpit, 18.5, 7 solos, 1 assist, 1 TFL, 1 PBU, 1 QB hit. I think you all talked up Grant Delpit
Yeah.
on the preview pod. I know.
Macri loves Del
Macri's
Pitt.
a
Yeah.
big fan.
Zadarius Smith had a nice little debut in Cleveland, 13.5 points, 2 assists, 1 PBU, 4 QB hits. You're going to hear the scoring for a lot of the guys we're recapping juiced because we score QB hits in our league, which if you
should.
have the option to do that, we would recommend it because it is a play that really affects the quarterback's state of mind. If you are getting hit continuously over and over and over again, you are going to make poor decisions as a quarterback. So that is an important stat. If you can score it, you should. Ogbania Okoronkwo was next up, 13.45 points. And then Denzel Ward rounds things out. Denzel, what did I even say?
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward, 8.5 points, 3 solos, 1 assist, 1 pass breakup. So some solid numbers. Notice, though, folks, you don't see any linebackers, though, in the top 5. So let's pull up the old sleeper log and see what the Browns were doing. But a great debut for Myles Garrett. Top, I think he was 5 or 6 in the ADP. So
pretty much 5.
yeah, really solid, though, debut.
What do these linebackers do?
I can't find him.
Let's see here. I know, so we had Sione Takitaki had 3 points. Obusu Koromoa had 3 points. Hey, Rodney McLeod had 4 points. Let's go, Rodney. And then
Anthony
that's
Walker, 0.8.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great.
What's going on there? I mean, that's got to be like the lowest combined output from linebackers I think I've ever seen.
Okay, so JOK 75% of snaps, Anthony Walker 61%, Sione Takitaki 41%.
That's gross
God.
all the way around. I don't like that
That's
at all.
the other not ideal for anyone.
Total fade on the linebacker side, I feel like.
But that's kind of the conversation that we had, and nobody really felt like there was a clear answer in
We
the
haven't
offseason.
felt good about it all offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what's the answer? None of them.
Yeah.
Tony
none of 'em.
Fields.
I mean, I was taking Anthony Walker because like he was LB 60,
Yeah.
but it like
Gosh, JOK 75% of snaps, and that's what he did.
Yep.
That's gross.
Because you could hold your nose and say, well, if he got 98% of snaps and put that out, okay, fine, right?
Yeah.
But that's not great.
And maybe it's just a game. You
I
know,
think it's just a weird
Burrow
game.
had a lot of incompletions.
Yep.
Nobody gets his point. Nobody gets any stats for that.
no sustained drive for
Yep.
Cincy. Yeah, I think we can maybe chalk it up just some weirdness.
Yeah,
Those,
but there's none of those I'm really going to try to acquire right now.
yeah.
I'm not really trying to slide in to get JOK right now at a discount. Even in a good game, I don't know that any of these are going to be good.
But surely one of those linebackers is going to be like a LB 3-4 type for us.
Maybe.
But even if JOK is, or Anthony Walker is, their health has never been sustainable.
It's true. And also, like, is it an asset that's going to really do much for you weekly on a weekly basis? No.
Maybe waiver wire fodder, but right now I'm not seeing these guys as startable at all. Even in deeper leagues, I'm looking elsewhere.
No, Grant Delpit is maybe the IDP outside of the.
You want the defensive lineman. I think you could feel comfortable starting all of those guys. Like, let's see snaps, but like Obo, Za'Darius, Myles Garrett, feel great about those guys. Feel good about Delpit. Is that it? I mean. Yeah. I feel like that pretty much summarizes the Browns that you want to pay attention to. I feel like
people are pretty over JOK. Even when he's healthy, he's just been there.
Not that guy, pal.
Yep.
Next up here, Chargers, Dolphins.
Do it.
I think it's this one.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Look at me with that pull.
They're still sacking Daniel Jones. Dorrance with another sack.
Let's talk about.
Oh, my gosh. And another.
Chargers, Dolphins. Dolphins get the 36-34 win. We mentioned it earlier in the show.
Welcome to week one, Daniel.
That Jalen Phillips had the game-sealing sack, and we'll get to the Dolphins here in just a second.
Is this the best defensive line in football?
I think it's the best defense in football. The Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys?
We had this conversation a while back.
We did the top DSTs.
Yeah, but I'm saying defensive line.
Defensive line, man. It's a debate for another time.
Sorry, Joshua.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep us on track.
They're
here.
up there.
As far as the Chargers go, not a lot really worth noting here. Derwin James, 19 points. Eric Kendricks, 11 points. Lohe Gilman, I think y'all talked about him a little bit on the preview pod. With
we were just curious. I was just curious, like, who's that second safety going to be there? And it's Gilman, and great start for him. I mean, can you expect that every week? No. But that was pretty cool.
It was good.
Chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Lord.
Hands.
Somebody clip that, please.
Damn.
So that's really, I think, all we need to touch on from the Chargers there.
No Deion Henley. Kind of disappointing.
Yeah, Kenneth Murray was, I saw this earlier. So Kenneth Murray, it's always fun scrolling through. Yeah, so Kendricks was 100% of snaps. Kenneth Murray was 90%. Don't care. The clock is ticking on Kenneth Murray. Not going to buy into him at all.
What was the snaps?
90%.
Wow.
It is high, but let's see what his output was because he did not crack the top 5. In fact, he had 3 points. He had 3.25 points.
Damn, 90%.
Yeah, so not interested. Just not a guy.
I bet the PFF grades were asked too.
He was not a guy. Yeah, he probably was.
Deion's coming.
Deion Day is coming, but let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Addy, Kader Kohu. We mentioned him a little bit just as like hey, Jalen Ramsey's out. Look at Kader Kohu. Javon Holland, 19 points. Kader Kohu had 21 points.
Javon Holland, 14 tackles.
Yeah.
Let's go, Javon Holland.
I'm glad he's healthy.
I want to see the alignment on him because
Yes.
I feel like he might have gotten some box.
Yeah, he did it last year a little bit.
There were some news stories about like Vic Fangio maybe using Holland in that way, right?
That would be huge for him.
I swear I think I saw that or heard that this offseason. Just a great debut from Jalen Phillips, though, Addy. 18 points, 11 total tackles, and a sack. We mentioned that he had the game-sealing play. So, I mean,
It's
it
a Max
feels
Crosby type line. I mean, those 11 tackles.
Yes.
I mean, there's not a lot of edge guys that do that type of stuff. I mean, that makes you perk up because we know the sack upside is going to be there.
It feels like this may be Jalen's defense now.
Oh,
It feels like to me this is now his team.
yeah.
As far as at least the defensive side of the ball.
I think so, man. What an exclamation mark he put on it there at the end, too.
Week
did.
1, 11 tackles, 1 sack.
Beautiful.
Week 1.
And he should have had more. Again, the pressures, I know the PFF grades are going to look damn good tomorrow. I know he's going to have
close
a lot
on
of
a
pressures.
lot.
He definitely was.
Yep. So we should mention Zach Sealer.
Yep.
15 points, defensive tackle. He's a sneaky good like back
Sure
end
is.
D tackle too.
Sure is.
And then is that Deshaun Elliott?
Yep.
That is bringing up the rear here with 14 points DB for Miami, 13 tackles. So these DBs be racking up some tackles in Miami.
Now, the big story, though, is the linebacker usage.
I know. Let me get this pulled up here.
Jerome Baker, 100% of the snaps.
Yes, it was Jerome Baker, 100%. And then your boy.
AVG, Mr. Average.
That's right. Andrew Van Ginkel, 64% of snaps. David Long, 17 total snaps, 21%. John notes that he couldn't find any kind of injury concerns. So much like Brian Asamoah, one of our hype darlings early on in the season, but I don't know that I'm cutting David Long, but I'm not starting him until further notice.
I'm probably cutting him.
I wouldn't blame you if you did. I think it depends on league depth.
I think he's going to be okay. I don't know what's going on.
That was weird.
That is weird.
He's better than Andrew Van Ginkel. Like,
Surely
I know
to
that
God.
for sure. I think he's better than Jerome Baker, too.
But they just brought him in on a 1-year deal. I mean, they're not attached to this guy. We see that a lot.
But they brought him in, though.
They did bring him in.
It wasn't like an existing asset.
In preseason, he looked great, and
I know
he was getting the snaps as like the LB1 or 2 all throughout the offseason.
I know. I think it's a bad start. I would just be patient.
Yeah,
I think it could turn around, but I am setting him down. I'm not rolling him out week 2 after that kind of usage. So next game here, boys. Raiders.
You done with him?
I've traded him. I've traded him and JOK. In the offseason, I was just kind of over it. Let a little of the hype come around. David Long's got a new spot. JOK, there's nobody there. Somebody else can figure that crap out.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you if you want to be out on David Long. That is very discouraging usage week 1.
But and it's even if we do miss on David Long, the ADP was like LB40.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not a big whiff.
And I think the book's not written on him yet.
Yeah, just be patient.
Chill out.
All right, Raiders get the 17-16 win.
Closed case.
Yeah. Glad we figured that one out week 1.
The end.
You can jettison him into space. Raiders get the win week 1 over the Denver Broncos. Kareem Jackson came back, I think, later in the offseason. He was the leading scorer for Denver. 15 points, 4 tackles, and an INT.
Patrick Stearns out for the year.
Is he really?
I'm pretty sure he
I didn't
suffered
see
a major
that.
injury.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think Marcus Williams potentially torn pec.
Yep.
Yes.
We should mention as well that I think that was the early diagnosis. I haven't seen an update yet, but pay attention on Marcus Williams, safety for the Ravens there. Kareem Jackson, nice little debut. Patrick Surtain has 15 points, and then Alex Kingleton, 14 points on 8 tackles. Zach Allen, we mentioned him, kind of a defensive tackle, edge rusher, kind of hybrid, 10 points on 5 tackles. So Josie Jewell, though, I think got the lion's share of the snaps, but did not have the best week 1. I'm going to pull up his log to see what he was doing here. It looks like Josie Jewell was, 5 points. So 5 points, 6 tackles. So not a stellar debut for Josie Jewell, but I'm not worried about Mr. Jewell.
Yeah.
And Kingleton is who we thought he was.
Yep. Guy can tackle.
Yep, that's really it. That's all we need to know about the Denver Broncos. So let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. Nate Hobbs, we've talked about him all offseason. Phenomenal start in even DB leagues. I'm fine starting Nate Hobbs even in like a sleeper league with a DB designation. 21 points, 12 tackles. Really a solid start from Max Crosby as well, Bobo. 19 points, 5 tackles, 1 sack. It was nice to see both linebackers get some shine this game. Divine Diablo, 16 points on 9 tackles. And then Big Bob Spillane, 10 points on 7 tackles. So
shout out Macri there on 64 defensive snaps. Spillane played 100%, and then Diablo played 94%.
Was a little surprised to see Spillane get more snaps, but these are both every down linebackers, it seems like.
Yeah. Masterson was the only other one that kind of cycled in. But Diablo actually outscored Spillane in week 1. But I do feel like both of these guys are going to be Diablo's the sexier name, so it's going to be harder to acquire Diablo. But
just traded him.
Heck, you could roll out a Cody Barton, Robert Spillane stack in your linebacker spots and be just fine.
Yep.
I think you need to check your waivers for Spillane, Barton, in more of your casual redraft leagues. I picked up Spillane recently in a league like that.
You said you just traded Diablo?
Just traded Diablo. I got
traded him
away.
Okay.
Yep. Because I know everyone loves Diablo. I got a second next year, and I gave up. It was Diablo and like 2 fourths.
That's nice.
To get a second.
We should mention Diablo was 100% of snaps. Jamin Davis 65%.
And that's one of those. And for context, that's one of those leagues where I literally had like 7 solid linebackers. Like Jermaine Pratt was like my LB5.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
So I wanted to get rid of. I'm not getting a second for Jermaine Pratt probably anyway. Maybe I can now.
Yeah. Probably not.
I think Jermaine Pratt's going to ball this year.
Yeah.
Personally,
I do too.
Does he outscore Logan Wilson?
I'm going to call it here. Yes.
Let's go. Another little flag plant. Love to see it.
Wow. McRib.
He is that guy,
meatloaf.
pal. Yeah. I mean, we know he's
he's
eating the McRib.
He's already got a nice little head start on him.
That he does.
Y'all ever watch them cook the McRib?
Oh, it's not a. It's yeah.
Ooh,
I don't
look
want to
away.
see him cook anything in
It's
McDonald's.
like
yeah.
the-
I don't want to see the behind the scenes.
Aren't
at
the
all.
nuggets like pink sludge?
Yes.
It's like the Adam mentality on Taco Bell. Just go get your Taco Bell, find a dark parking lot,
Right.
Get it in your body.
and just
Keep the lights
close your
off.
eyes, look at the phone, watch football,
That's right.
and eat it. Just shove it.
Pray for
Yeah.
forgiveness and get it in your body.
Have some type of video that you're watching where you're not thinking about the food that you're eating.
The brain is distracted.
Fire sauce to kind of,
Yeah. Like, is
Well-
that a hair?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care.
Just floss. It's there for later. Get the food out
Nah,
of my
Nate
teeth.
Hobbs. That's a 12 tackles in week 1.
Talk about gonna ball.
Yeah.
Nate Hobbs
Yeah.
gonna eat, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
that's maybe
really good.
and that's a candidate for
That's
the,
CB1,
the
right?
corner with the most tackles.
Yep.
It's Nate Hobbs, a really good candidate.
Did y'all watch this game at all? Did Russ look
He looked okay.
really?
Russ
He
looked
looked
okay,
okay. He
and
was
actually, I thought
Rolling out.
the Raiders looked somewhat okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers was balling.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy G was able to fling it a little more than I thought he would.
Huh.
But still, it's not a team.
That team's gonna suck.
That team's gonna be bad.
Yeah. I mean, they looked okay week 1.
We
Got
didn't
the
mention
dub.
the Chandler Jones stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about it with Macri, but he's going through a lot of stuff right now.
It feels like the way his New England exit happened with some. What was he? He was in a police station, like shirtless. Like, am I remembering this correctly? That
was that him?
I mean, that may have been someone else, but he had a sort of a inglorious exit from New England as well. I thought.
Yeah, that might be right.
So with just a kind of similar, very weird circumstances. I mean, I still haven't been able to piece through everything that's gone on with Chandler Jones,
Yeah,
but
someone that seems like he might struggle with mental health a little bit. So you hope for the best for him.
You
but
really
it's,
do.
It's just unfortunate. Hate to see it, right? Especially with this
I know.
season here and all that stuff now.
Yeah.
Someone that we were excited about, but we'll see.
you hope he's okay.
He might get a shot somewhere else. So
You hope so.
Just stay tuned.
All right, Bobo, I'm going to cue you up here, give you the solo cam on the next game. The Rams pull off the probably most shocking upset of the week, beating the Seahawks 30-13. This wasn't just like a close game that came down to a field goal. They beat the Seahawks pretty bad. Let's talk about some of the top scorers for the Rams. Who do we got here at the top of the list? I think it's a player you are well acquainted with.
Ernie J, 18 points on 9 tackles. He had 3 TFLs that I know of. Ernest Jones, just step into the light, young man. Your LB1 season is here.
Don't go into the light, but step into the light.
Step into it.
Yeah.
I said it right.
Yeah, you did right.
You
I know.
shut your mouth.
I'm just saying, don't go into the light, but step into it.
Hit him.
I don't want Ernest Jones to pass away.
We're
That's all I
fighting
was
soon.
trying to
We're
get after.
fighting soon. Another guy that I kind of like for this year, Byron Young, 11
Yes.
points. He had 4 tackles and 1 sack
Let's
because there was
go,
nobody
Byron.
else there. Aaron Donald actually had a sack to go with 4 tackles and 9 points also. Michael Hacht.
Michael Hacked. Hoyt.
8 points. He had 3 tackles and 1 sack in Big 3 scoring. So, yeah, the Rams, Ernest Jones, we thought he did
Yep.
what we thought he was going to do.
Exactly.
Aaron Donald does what he always does. Byron Young is going to be a guy who's probably on your waivers. I'm interested in Byron Young. I'd be interested to know what y'all think. But
Yeah,
he's going to
alongside
play.
AD.
Yeah.
AD looks fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, he was moving very well. I'm interested in what happened with the safety breakdown. Who was getting the snaps?
So a lot of Jordan Fuller.
in the East.
Yeah, there wasn't as much John Johnson as I thought in week 1. But
Yeah.
maybe that's an acclimation thing.
Jordan Fuller was 7.5 points, 8 total tackles. So
And I mean, this game was the most shocking of all the games. I
I
think
agree.
just the final outcome of it. What if the Rams are good now? I mean, what if they actually are solid? I mean, I think that maybe you could see them lean more on the veterans as the season goes on, right?
Yeah, it's going to be weird if the Rams are good because then the whole jettison Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and maybe trade Matt Stafford. Maybe that plan is Caleb Williams, who? I don't know. I know there were a lot of people that were commenting how well the Cardinals were playing early on, and all of a sudden, I guess nobody really likes Caleb Williams that much. We'll just try to win. And the Rams just sitting there kind of licking their chops. And then after the Rams game, it was like, well, maybe they don't want him either.
That's possible.
Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell.
what's going on there?
Kyron Williams outscoring Cam Akers.
It's a youth movement.
Dude, the key is Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is still a really, really freaking good quarterback.
Yeah,
he played out of his mind.
That's what I told Connor. I saw Connor before we got together, and that's what I was like, man, Matt Stafford deserves so much more credit than we've been giving him lately. Like that dude is legit good. Like to with that supporting cast to do what he did today, and like give those receivers, these no-name receivers,
one of the most impressive wins, I'd say, of his career.
It has to be,
considering the opponent.
What's Puka going to be? Is he going to be the acquisition for the week?
Probably
100%.
That's kind of what
Cooper
I think.
Kupp's out until week 5.
Outside,
he's the wide receiver 1.
And then, I mean, you get him back. I mean, what's that going to look like when you get Cooper Kupp back?
Dude, I think that was a lot of the problem last year is that they didn't have a Robert Woods. And if you noticed early on, they gave Puka Robert Woods' number. He's 17. I think if you have 2 viable options now, and maybe even Tutu Atwell is something, maybe it just took, a couple years for him to get acclimated. It was nice to see McVay run the ball some because McVay sometimes can get away from the rush. But anyways, not to talk too much offensively. Ernest Jones is the guy you want. I'm so thankful for Ernest Jones. Now we get to see 100% snap share to see what
he's going to be so good this year.
full
Jones
healthy.
IV.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Is he the 4th?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's fun.
Noticed that today.
Love that. Well, his old running mate for Seattle, Bobby Wagner, just said, hey, let me hold 19 total tackles in week 1. 22 points for Bobby Wagner. And then the next name on the list here, Addy, I was very excited to see a guy that you like a lot at the safety position.
Yeah, Julian Love, 9 tackles, 14 points in his Seattle Seahawks debut. So
had a nice pass, like batted down, I saw. Like I said, I was only kind of popping in on this game on Red Zone, but I was like, oh, there's Julian Love doing his thing. And we should mention the surprising storyline is Jordan Brooks.
yeah, we owe him an apology.
Yes, we really do. 11 points and 12 total tackles. I mean, this was a shocking win for the Rams. This may be the most shocking outcome IDP-wise for week 1, in my opinion.
It's a medical
miracle.
It really is.
It truly is.
It's like in the same ballpark as like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Like where, he came back and I think he put up he had the MVP season. The year I think he tore his ACL.
A surgery.
Coming off of.
Yes.
Surgery for his ACL in January. And now we're in September, and the dude just put up a game.
12 tackles. Yeah, I mean, they got their ass whipped. So we'll see what the PFF grades look like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And, I mean, someone that his dynasty value already gets a bump up now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's already back.
He's back.
That was the concern. The concern was that he wasn't gonna be himself if he did come back. Well, dude's already back and he
looks great.
putting up, double-digit tackles again.
We don't know the snaps though, right?
No.
We have not seen.
No,
that
but
yet.
I mean, I'd say it's 70% at
It's
least.
got to be at least.
Devin Bush was a non-factor. It seems. like.
No, it was Jordan Brooks. He played a lot.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit about
That's shocking.
Kobe Bryant too. 12 points on 9 tackles. Kobe Bryant was a guy in the preseason that played a lot of safety out of the cornerback kind of position. He was labeled as a cornerback on sleeper, but played a lot of safety in the box. So I will be very interested to see how all this stuff shakes out. Where did Julian Love play? Where did Kobe Bryant play? How many snaps did Jordan Brooks get? And then that line, there's not really – Uchenna didn't do much there. They didn't really get a whole lot of pressure on what I thought was going to be a bad Rams offensive line. But, hey, it's week 1. Maybe we don't know everything that we thought we did.
Yeah, we should mention Devin Bush, 1 tackle for, let's see, it was 1.25 points. So he had 1 solo tackle. So probably not playing a lot.
Thing with the Rams, shout out Bill Simmons, but I mean, just the perfect nobody believes in us team.
Truly.
I mean, really, no one did. We talked so much trash about them all off season. I think most people have. And then, they lose Cup right before the season kicks off. It's like, this team sucks. This team's done.
Yep.
How are they going to move the ball?
Going to Seattle, week 1.
We love Seattle.
So are y'all back in? Because I still think the Rams are going to stink. I mean, I think they're going to win like 6 games, 7 games at most.
I thought they're going to win 1.
Okay, I didn't think they were going to be that bad.
I thought they're going to be bad.
I'd say at most. Like I could see like a 3 or 4 win season.
Yeah.
But if Stafford's going to play out of his mind,
If they get 6-7 wins, that's a successful season based on that roster.
It's a lot to ask for a 35-year-old Matt.
it's kind of a bad success though because you're
Yeah, you need to
putting
kinda
yourself
lose.
out of the running for Matthew Stafford's replacement.
But I do kind of like the 1-2 punch of Kyron and Cam Akers because I don't really believe in Cam Akers and I also don't really believe in Kyron. But man, here's the other thing too about Cooper Kupp is like everybody's like, well, Cooper Kupp's going to come back in week 5. Sometimes these hamstrings are weird.
I wouldn't trust it. Hamstring makes me very nervous.
It's
30 plus.
It's like a high ankle type thing.
Hey,
bothered Keenan all last year, didn't it?
Yep.
Hammies just tend to persist. That's what they do. Hey, shout out John. That's why you should listen to this show because we can just message John Macri and be like, Jordan Brooks, snap percentage, 64%.
Wow.
Okay.
So a little less
Solid.
even than what I thought.
Hey.
Racking up that many tackles on just 64% of snaps.
That's disappointing though, John. If you lived here, you could have gotten that info to us a whole lot faster.
Yes.
You could have been here.
Yes.
You could have been in the
You
shack.
could have been eating McRibs with us.
Hey, if you move in, we'll put you on this here edge of the table, and then we'll
see
reconfigure
we'll
the
see
cameras.
the back of your head.
We'll do the camera from the.
It'll
from
just
the
rotate. It'll be one of those 360 cameras.
bird's eye view cam.
There we go. Next game up here, boys. This was kind of a weird game. It was another kind of rainy game. But the Eagles hold on and beat the New England Patriots 25-20. On the Eagles side, some interesting performers. We'll talk about their linebackers here in just a minute. But Darius Slay, 34 points. He had the pick 6 that helped boost his finish a lot. 3 tackles. Reed Blankenship, we should mention, 11 tackles. So shout out Evan Ronda.
Slay also got put on skates. Who did they play? The Patriots?
The Patriots,
I think
yeah.
it was Kendrick Bourne, or maybe it was Butte. May look dumb at some point in the game. So anyways, yeah, Slay's fine, but I'm not going to grab him right now.
We wondered if Jordan Davis would be an IDP factor, and at least in game 1, he was. 18 points, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. Avonte Maddox, 18 points on 6 tackles, and then Jalen Carter, 12 points, 1 tackle, 1 sack.
It was a defensive tackle day for the
It
Eagles.
was. It really
The ends,
was.
Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick really didn't do that much. Milton Williams was actually in on some plays, but just didn't put a whole lot of stats up. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are going to be phenomenal IDPs.
Fearsome duo.
That's going to be a tough little team to play against.
So the linebacker situation, Zach Cunningham, 88% of snaps. Nakobe Dean, 49 total snaps. He was injured in quarter 3, did not return. Christian Ellis, 34 snaps. He is the next man up if Dean misses time. We mentioned the safeties. Reed Blankenship, 98% of snaps. Justin Evans is the safety too, at least according to this week, 96% of snaps. Terrell Edmonds, just 10 snaps. So arrow down emoji as John has in his tweet.
Shout out to Evan, Reed Blankenship.
I know, right? Reed Blankenship lives. Who could have imagined it? Evan did.
Yeah.
Patriots side of things, Christian Gonzalez had a nice debut. 23 points, 7 tackles, 1 sack. Matthew Judon, here he is once again.
Hey, September.
Going to be turning into a pumpkin around Halloween. 17 points, 3 tackles, 1 sack. Jabril Peppers, 14 points on 6 tackles and 1 forced fumble.
Did you see that hit on Jalen Hurts?
I did not.
Hurts came through almost for a first down, and Peppers came through and crushed Jalen Hurts for the that was his forced fumble.
Oh, there you go.
It was a nasty tackle.
Yep. The forced fumble then on Jalen Hurts. Juwan Bentley, 11 points, 9 tackles. And then Josh Uche, 10 points, 1 tackle, 1 sack.
You know what I thought about when I saw this earlier? This is going to maybe be aggravating because Judon is hard to look away from an IDP. Peppers, 6 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Bentley, do we maybe need to pay attention to him now? Josh Uche, are we going to have to start thinking about starting these guys,
Yeah.
It's kind of been the whole, kind of pay attention to them, but don't start them type situation. But we might have to now.
Yeah, I think Bentley's a great option this year.
Yep.
I mean, someone that's just going to rack up tackles. That's what he's done his entire career, but I think you could maybe see him have his largest snap share of his career this year. They just paid him this offseason, right? They gave him like a nice 2-year, decent dollar deal, I believe.
Yep, they did.
Let's pay attention to this real quick, too. Macri did put out Kyle Duggar played 100% of snaps. Jabril Peppers played 88% of snaps, even though Duggar really didn't, do a whole lot in the game. Duggar played 22 in the box. Jabril Peppers played 19 in the box.
That's a pretty interesting little split.
It is.
Marcus Jones only 5.85 points this week, 1 tackle, 1 fumble recovery. I don't know I guess he just didn't get a lot of return opportunities or
Yeah.
what. But I'm interested to see his usage and see how many snaps he got because he needs to do both. I mean, he needs to be a corner and get these return yards.
I did notice
4 points for Duggar.
I did notice that today it didn't seem like there were like the whole the new rule in the NFL. There weren't a whole lot of kicks being returned.
Yep.
They're just letting them go from here on out. So the whole kick return
that's gonna nerf
yard
kick
is going to
return
be annoying
quite a bit
if you don't have a good punt returner.
Yeah, you want the punt returners, not the kick returners this year.
Dallas Flowers, Keyshawn Nixon.
Keyshawn
right.
Nixon, I think, may be a cheat code this
I
year.
benched him in our main league.
That
I
could
have
be
a lot of regrets.
That
Keyshawn?
could be the Marcus Jones this year.
Oh yeah,
Nixon.
easily.
So last game here, boys. We can pull up Giants Cowboys now that the game is over and just kind of riff on that as well. But the last game we have prepped here in the doc is Packers 38, Bears 20. Let's kick things off with Quay Walker. Addy, I know you said you were very high on Quay. He has 27 points, 4 tackles. He had a pick 6, so that helped boost the stats quite a bit. We'll talk about the snaps here in just a moment. Devontae,
One hell of a return, though.
It was.
I mean,
It was sick.
I mean, let's give him his credit.
Yes,
that was
he deserves
ridiculous.
it.
Looked like a damn running back out there.
Yeah, he's
Aaron Jones banged up.
yeah.
Sir.
The number 7 looks good on Quay. Number 6 looks great on Denzel Perryman.
I like that.
Some of these linebackers can pull off the single digits very easily. Devontae Wyatt, 22 points, 3 tackles, 2 sacks.
Yum.
We mentioned Keyshawn Nixon there, 18 points, 7 tackles. He did have some return yards in there as well. Rasul Douglas, I know Johnny shouted him out on the Cornerback streaming podcast because you think, oh, let me start Jair Alexander. No, you want Rasul Douglas and Keyshawn Nixon. And then Kenny Clark, 15 points, 3
Kenny.
tackles,
Gave
1
him a
sack,
shout-out.
1 forced fumble.
Yeah, it was just a great matchup. I mean, anytime you're playing against the Bears and Justin Fields led the NFL in sacks for quarterbacks last year. So, I mean, it's going to happen. He looked bad.
Yeah, is this a concerning game for
Hell
the
yes.
Bears?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I
think
would
so,
not.
too.
There are a lot of just confident takes about Justin Fields this offseason.
Yeah.
Everyone
MVP
painting him as like the next Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, let's
Let's
settle
slow down just a little bit.
Who was it that said that? They were talking about the MVP stuff. With
He was
him.
the betting favorite, I'm sure, because the odds were really good.
But it's all like the DJ Moore talk was, DJ Moore's gonna have his best year of his career. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about all that. So we should mention the linebackers. 74 defensive snaps. Devondre Campbell played 55 total snaps. Quay Walker 49. But first through the third quarter, 46 snaps. Quay Walker played 100% of snaps through the first 3 quarters.
Try blowout.
Yes, whereas Devondre Campbell played just 32
That's a
total
big-
snaps, which is 70%.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And you got to remember that, folks. Some of these snap shares are going to look different depending on how the game gets played. If it's out of hand, I mean, they're going to pull starters, and the snap shares are going to look a little different. So, I mean, you do have to sometimes look even deeper than just the snap shares.
Yep, look at the splits like John did here for us. So, yes, great game for Quay Walker, my flag plant, Devondre Campbell. Slow start, 7.25 points, 7 tackles. So we'll see how the split continues to shake out for the linebackers there.
Are we going to have to pay attention to Devontae Wyatt?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
He
I
was
think so,
already,
too.
I think, a top 15 defensive tackle for us in the dynasty
Like you
ranks,
said, though,
so
good matchup.
great matchup, right?
That helps.
But I mean, this was a guy that
He's
was
shown some
yeah,
stuff.
he had a lot of hype for good reason, and I mean, he's got a really, really good supporting cast there in Green Bay. So yeah,
All
I
right.
like him.
Let's wrap up with the Bears. Yannick Ngakoue, 18 points, 4 tackles, 1 sack. The linebackers clocking in at 2 and 3. Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards both have 14 points. Tremaine Edmonds did it on 7 tackles, so he must have had some TFLs or QB hits in there. TJ Edwards just had 14 tackles. So he was like, let me do all of this through tackling. And Jaquan Brisker, 12 points, 7 tackles. So a lot of our big name IDP. I mean, I think this is the rundown in terms of like the IDPs I'm interested in.
Those are the ones you're starting. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
What's his face? The safety, Eddie Jackson, probably should have been in the mix. but
Kyler
yeah.
Gordon,
Kyler
DeMarcus
Gordon.
Walker.
Kyler Gordon, dude, come on,
Dead
bro.
to me.
You cost me $600, brah.
Almost hit on a 5-leg parlay on Underdog.
One
with
tackle
the,
today. One tackle. His over under was 3 tackles. One tackle.
One tackle.
Come on, dude.
Come through.
He didn't do that at all last year. I mean, last year was like every game was like at least 5 or 6.
I'm sure you
tackles.
push that button. You're like, oh, hell yeah, Kyler Gordon can get that many
It
tackles.
was like a layup. I had that one, in a few of them.
Yeah.
So, Kyler Gordon, you're in timeout, and we'll tell you when you can come out of your room.
Yeah.
But
He'll be dropped, though, maybe, and he's a solid
Scoop
ad
him up,
for
yeah.
cornerback leagues. He's going to be all right.
yeah, what'd you think of Jordan Love and the Packers there, Bobo? Kind of
looked pretty
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs.
And when they get Christian Watson back, who was like wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
But now,
little
it was also
ostentatious.
it was a great matchup for Love.
Sure it
I mean, You
was.
couldn't have asked for a better one than that.
That's true.
So,
It's early.
are the Bears? I mean, is that defense is that like the worst defense in the league?
No, I mean,
It's still really bad.
Their line is really bad.
But I mean, where they spent the money was at linebacker.
yeah.
It's Tremaine and T.J. Edwards.
And
Those
now
are
you've
your-
got Yannick coming off the edge.
I want to
and
see Jack
nobody else.
Sanborn's snap count because I know they were running out quite
Yeah.
a bit 3 linebacker sets. Because we saw his line on Underdog.
Yeah, his line was
His
like
line was
6 tackles.
6 tackles. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I think he got.
He did get like only 4 tackles, so that was a good one. But he got more snaps than we
I
thought.
know,
We thought he
I
wasn't going
know.
to get like any snaps.
That
Ryan
was
Pace.
very surprising.
Ryan Pace definitely did it backwards. He spent too much money on linebackers and then had to go reach for $10 million Yannick there at the end.
Yeah, we should mention DeMarcus Walker did play 7.5 points, 2 tackles. I wanted to see Eddie Jackson. Yeah, was 8 points, 4 tackles, and I wanted to see Sanborn's output here. Yeah, so he had 3.25 points on 3 tackles. So 3 total tackles, I should say. So there you go. That is the Packers Bears. Let's just pull up. I
T.J.
think
Edwards did also give up that long Aaron
Yep.
Jones catch for a touchdown.
Are we surprised?
No.
Yeah.
Typical.
So let's pull up here just real quick because I'm sure it is already updated because Sleeper's scoring should have inputted already. But let's look at Giants and Cowboys to see who popped in this game. So Deron Bland is the leading scorer from both teams.
Sure.
20 points. He had a pick 6, it looks like, an interception and a touchdown.
Potential cheat code type too, because he gets return yards. I think he does maybe punt and kick returns. I'm not sure, but I know he gets return yard work.
Yeah, so Dorrance Armstrong, he had 2 tackles and a sack, 16 points. Micah Parsons, 15 points, 2 tackles and a sack. Stephon Gilmore, 14 points. Osei Odigizua, 13 points,
Well
3
done.
tackles. Thank you, 1 sack. And DeMarcus Lawrence. Notice a lot of Cowboys to start off this list. Not a lot of Giants here. So
There was no Donovan Wilson this week. What did Jaron Kearse do?
let's see here. Xavier McKinney was 11. Vander Esch was 6. DeMarcus Lawrence was 6. Fowler was 6. Hooker was 5. Adoree Jackson was 5.
Kearse had 7 tackles.
Yeah, what was Kearse? Where did he end up?
7 tackles. Only 2 of them were solo.
Okay, so I was trying to find him here on the list. So he was 3 points.
Marquise Bell led Dallas.
No,
with,
sorry, he was 6.25. I'm looking
8
at
tackles.
their. Now I'm looking at their stats. That's weird. I don't think the scoring was right.
Look at Micah McFadden leading the New York defense with tackles. 11 total tackles and 1 TFL.
So I don't think this is fully updated yet because Deron Bland actually had 26.95. Dorrance Armstrong was 27.55. So, yeah, the list I was looking at there had not quite updated yet. 16.25 for Micah Parsons.
Oh, wow.
Stephon Gilmore, 23 points, 4 tackles, 1 INT. What you on about over there?
Osa had 2 sacks. Dorrance had 2 sacks.
Wow.
Micah had 1. Chauncey Golston and then
Osei
DeMarcus had
Odigizua
1.
was 27.1. Yeah. Let's see what Dexter Lawrence was 12.15. I'm sorry, that's DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah, so a lot of output on the Dallas side of things, it looks like.
0 sacks for the New York Giants.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to update this because I feel like I need to just refresh the page. But
In New York.
You just chalked this up to just a fluky game
Yep.
in that locker room, right? Like,
I
guys,
think
this
so,
is
too.
just
Yeah.
just flush it.
Go home.
It's just one of those games that just everything went wrong.
it was at home though too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's a rough.
I'm sure-
it's just
I'm sure
it's
the
week
media will be
one.
rational
yes,
about it.
totally rational, right? Yeah. So, anyways, that wraps up. Yeah. So updated points. So, yeah, that is who is this? This Dorrance Armstrong was the leading scorer, 27.55.
Wow.
Osei Odigizua, 27.1. Deron Bland was next there. He was number 3 on the list with 26.95. Stephon Gilmore, God, they absolutely feasted on this team. 23 points as well. So, yeah, Dallas, very good defense, and their IDP showed up here in week 1 against the Giants. So, there you go, folks. The week 1 recap. I think we've touched on every game. We didn't talk about Lions Chiefs, but
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. I thought Karlaftis looked great.
Hutchinson looked great.
He looks like he's taking that next step.
Yes.
I think Nick Bolton looked phenomenal, had some really good plays.
Threw that offensive lineman to the ground. Did you see that?
Geez.
That was sick.
That was Penei Sewell, too, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it was.
Trent McDuffie looks pretty good.
Yeah, he looks good.
Looks like you could probably play him and L'Jarius Sneed. I think Sneed's going to play outside probably more. McDuffie played. It looked like the slot a lot. I haven't looked at their usage, but
That Detroit secondary is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We talked about it all offseason, how excited we're about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's going to be a big deal there. Also, I thought Jack Campbell, even though he didn't get
looked good.
the snaps that we really want yet, I mean, he looked good. He's going to get those snaps.
That pass breakup where
that was very nice.
running backwards, kind of robot turning and breaking up that pass was just beautiful.
But yeah, Derek Barnes, his time is coming to an end. It'll be Jack Campbell and Anzalone.
Jahmyr Gibbs looks scary.
He looks great.
He looks scary.
It's a very fun team.
He looks one or two moves away from just housing a lot.
Sam Laporta looks good. They nailed their draft picks. I mean, Brian Branch had himself a pick 6. You know,
That dude is fast, too.
Chauncey
He's
Gardner-Johnson, I think you were just talking about that. I was looking at some of the Chiefs scores, but I think he's going to be the difference maker that he was for the Eagles.
That may be
for that
one
Lions
of the
team.
That may be one of the best offseason acquisitions.
And they got him for like $7 million late in the
Teams were
offseason.
So stupid. Why?
So
Why
stupid.
were they not? Everyone should have been in on him. Someone should have given him a massive deal.
He was a
Yes.
game changer. There were a couple of drives. I remember Sky Moore. I know there's a lot of crap on him, but he actually caught a pretty decent ball over the middle. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson just comes through and just pops it out. I think there was a tackle pretty early on one of the running backs where you got to be a pretty special defensive back to make some of those plays. And Chauncey Gardner is just, he might be him, man.
Well, you look at the
He is him.
scores.
If there's anybody that's him, it's him.
It's him. It is him. He is him.
Listen-
Brian Branch was the leading scorer. Michael Dana
Yeah.
might be somebody to pay attention
Yeah.
to with
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones out, and then also who is suspended from that team?
Amenahue.
Yeah, Charles Omenihu
And
out.
also, they're just, I mean, FAU, what's
Yeah.
his, he may not be ready yet.
Your flag plant, Justin Reed, 15 points in that game, 14 for CD Deuce.
He's getting better.
Karlaftis,
Justin Reed's getting better.
14. Anzalone, 13. Trent McDuffie, 13. L'Jarius Sneed, 11. Hutch, 11.
What we thought was going to be worrisome is worrisome. That LB2 spot is, I don't know.
I think it was like 70% of snaps
We
for
don't want
Gay.
it. We don't want it.
Gay.
3 and a
don't
quarter
want it.
points, I think.
Yeah, you just don't want that LB2 spot. Who cares?
Yeah, they were mixing in Leo Chenal quite a bit. Drew Tranquil, at least for now. I think he's going to have an injury, but just pay attention. This might shift as the season goes along.
I got to give an offensive stat just because I'm a Rams fan. Players today with 10-plus targets: Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, Puka Nacua.
Yeah, as we all
Wow.
expected.
15 targets.
What was his stat line?
Like 10 for 110 or 120 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after week 1, what is the? Are we getting irrational about anything like pretty quick?
Nope.
Nope.
What?
We're all taking deep
Is
breaths.
there
Even keel.
anything that you're okay with being like?
We've all been here before.
Yeah,
I
don't
think,
know.
well, the things that we said was like Asamoah you can cut or bench, David Long you can cut or bench. And there's some situations like the Browns linebackers, no thank you, because it's a continuation of what we saw. I think when it is like the drumbeat plays out in week 1, I think that's something I'm going to follow through more than like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, I'm not going to trust some of these things as like set in stone, but a few surprises, but a lot of what we expected too.
Who's going to be the big waiver ads?
Drake Jackson.
Yeah.
Who was the linebacker?
Carl Granderson.
Granderson for sure.
I think Spillane will be up there too.
Yeah.
Now that people see the usage and stuff.
Maybe even Byron Young.
Jermaine
honestly.
Pratt might be out there
Pratt,
on
yep,
waivers.
yep.
I mean, he shouldn't be, but
Depending on the depth of your league.
depending on the podcast you listen to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, there you go, folks. Week 1 recap. We're getting it out to you on Sunday, so hopefully you're enjoying this on your commute Monday or as you're doing the dishes or mowing the yard or whatever it is, however you consume this podcast. We thank you for listening.
Yeah, do you guys like it being out this quickly? I mean, if it was out a day later, we'd have a little bit more stats or whatnot. So, sound off if you.
Yeah, let us know.
We'd like to
This
know.
is an experiment.
You
We
want it on
think.
Saturday night.
Yeah, do you want us to do it a live stream during the games and just react? No, we don't. We're not going to do that. But
Negative.
we do think you all will enjoy having an extra day with this episode, and there's still plenty of good information for us to go off of. And like I said, listen to Jake and Evan, the preview pod. They're going to let you know all those PFF grades, the snap counts.
Follow our Twitters. Packers. I'm gonna be posting a bunch of nugs since we're not doing Monday stuff.
I ain't posting nothing, so don't follow me.
Yeah.
Some of these gamers might be listening tonight. We got some of these Game of Thrones people. Is that a game?
Yes.
Okay. Play Game of Thrones at night.
Are you talking about like a video game?
Sure.
I think there may be a Game of Thrones video game,
Is
but
that
that's
not
also
like a really popular one?
It's an HBO television program.
Okay.
There may be a video game
It's not an
adaptation.
actual game, Bob.
Yeah.
What's the one Kyler plays?
Call of Duty.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
COD.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I
So
twisted
Game of
this up a
Thrones,
lot.
Call of Duty. You had the of.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's tough keeping up with youth culture.
It's a tough world. A lot of stuff going by real fast.
A lot of stuff just going right past, and I'm like, I don't even know what that was. Yep. All right. Well, let us know, folks, if you enjoyed this Week 1 recap coming out on Sunday. Like we mentioned, we'll have Jake and Evan back in the feed for the Week 2 preview. Make sure you're subscribed to the IDP After Show. We've got Johnny's Streaming Corner episode. We've got Jace discussing his rankings with a guest each week. We've got Leezy being a stream boy now.
Wow.
Looking like a Twitch
Man,
superstar
he
there
is
with
an
Banged
attractive
Up.
man.
Yes, sir. Got them LED lights.
That's a handsome fella.
Like
so-
every Gen Z does.
That's right. You've got the lights
I do
as
have
well.
some as well,
You do
guys.
have. Are you wanting to be Gen Z?
How do you do, fella kids?
Fellow kids. So make sure you're checking that out. Those programs, Jace's pod and
watch
Lee's
us on
pod,
the YouTubes.
yeah, are also on YouTube.
Right.
So you can subscribe to the IDP After Show wherever you get your podcasts. We have widely distributed that now. Full episodes are going to be on YouTube. And then make sure you check out the website, theidpshow.com. Boo Bam's waiver article will be up tomorrow night. First one to market. Make sure you check that out. Get a jump start on your waivers. And boys, the amount of content we have coming out on the website is just insane. So make sure you head over there and grab yourself a subscription.
Just not even fair, Josh.
I know. It's a lot to keep up with.
Are you tired?
I'm so exhausted. I'm going to go sleep. So until next week, y'all take care and enjoy the Monday night game. It's going to be a good one. Bills, Jets.
hope.
Yeah,
We
we hope. Hopefully.
Who has the best game, IDP wise?
Oh, boy. I'm
Quentin Williams is a nice candidate.
going to say Matt Milano.
Matt Milano, okay.
I'm feeling it.
I'm going Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, okay. What
I'm
do you
going
got?
Big Q.
Big Q. Okay.
Woo,
We'll see.
D-tackle.
This is a nice little fun
CJ
thing
Mo's
to
will
throw
be
in
a
at
good
the
one,
end.
too.
Yeah. Just enjoy it. There's a lot of fun IDPs in that game. But enjoy the Monday night game. And until next Sunday, y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP show, now you know.